r/AskReddit. What item is very useful in a zombie apocalypse, but most people don't think about using? Motorcycle gear. Motorcycle pants, jackets, and gloves are designed to prevent road rash injuries and are really tough. Wearing them, especially if you also use the helmet, makes you immune to zombie bites. Do I still need neck protection? Travel pillow. Sorted. A book on basic survival techniques, sort of like a Boy Scouts book or something. A book on local edible plants and mushrooms. A tank, preferably a British one, as they have integrated kettles. Can't go wrong with a Churchill. A good water filtration device, like a Life Straw or Sawyer Mini. One of them can often filter thousands of gallons of water without a hiccup. You can only go a few short days without clean drinking water, so it's pretty likely you die of dehydration before a zombie actually kills you. I live on the 11th floor. I think I would just take off the staircase railings and pour some sunflower oil all over the stairs. Also, a bit irrelevant, but I think a lot of zombies would be walking with their trousers around their ankles. Surely a zombie isn't smart enough to pull their pants up. Yes, they dry out and skinny. All of the fat people would lose their clothes. There would be a ton of zombie D and zombie boob people walking around. Edit. You're weird, Reddit. I always thought it was stupid that no zombie movies had naked zombie people. That and the fact that the survivors seemingly never take a pee or poop. A small toolkit, a few screwdrivers and a hand drill, and you can quietly pull apart or mend most things. Also olive oil, both for cooking and leaving a nice slippery patch for any of the undead to fall about on. A bicycle and slingshot. The bike allows you to cover more ground than on foot and more quietly than with anything with an engine. They don't need fuel beyond calories, and maintenance is simple. With a little practice, the slingshot can take out small game. Squirrels, birds, maybe rabbits if you're good enough. It makes very little noise. And you can pick up ammunition, small stones, ball bearings, nuts, bolts, etc. from basically anywhere. A crowbar. Works as a tool in its own right for opening doors and levering things open, and is also an effective melee weapon. Shovels. Can be used for digging traps, for gardening, as a weapon, and burying bodies. A little rope and duct tape go a long way if you're creative enough to use them well. Using a human-sized hamster ball. Think about it. You'd be safe from getting bitten as you roll around in your personal protective bubble. Just jump on the trend and get infected. Worst case scenario, you get gunned down. Best case scenario, they find a cure and you don't remember the horrors that took place around you. Wire cutters. Because a lot of media operate under the belief that a chain-linked fence is a non-trivial barrier. Spears. Everyone imagines using a gun or a sword, but in reality, spears are the best weapon to use. They're easy to make, relatively easy to use compared to other weapons, require less materials than other weapons, and most importantly, can keep zombies at a distance and minimize your chances of being bitten. Also, with some practice, you can learn to throw a spear to hunt game. Spears may not be the most flashy weapons, but they are the most useful. Cat or dog food. It's completely safe to eat, and usually, this wouldn't even be on anyone's zombie apocalypse shopping spree list. So while everyone is killing each other over pizza rolls, sub sandwiches, and brains, here you are with your delicious premium chicken-flavored cat food. Not an item, but a place. A garage with lifts. Unless they're smart enough, they can't bring down the lift. You can lift a car and sleep in it for safety, and it's filled with heavy objects to throw and use as weapons. That's great until you're surrounded and can't escape. A bike. It's fast, silent, uses no fuel, is able to move on blocked roads, and can easily be carried if you have to proceed on foot. Towels. Nobody thinks of wrapping their arms in them. Try biting through a towel, zombie. The power of decomposers, like mushrooms or a pet vulture. If you had a pet vulture, you wouldn't have to do much other than give it water and keep it healthy. The vulture's hungry? Just let it fly around for a bit. Best case scenario, it eats a couple of zombies by where you're staying. Worst case scenario, the birds can get infected, and now you have a zombie vulture on your hands. Throwing mushroom spores on a horde of zombies could be a good idea too. You probably don't suffer any risk yourself of getting a fungal infection, but since zombies have no immune system and are rotting, mushrooms could thrive on a group of zombies. Throwing spores on zombies wouldn't save you immediately, but it may be a good idea in the long run. Best case scenario, zombies have an outbreak of their own, and millions of zombies are decomposing faster due to being covered in fungus. Worst case scenario, you effed up, and now have The Last of Us. If the recent apocalypse has proven anything, it's toilet paper. Fat friends to leave behind. Basic gardening tools. Potatoes. You can grow close to 100 pounds of potatoes in something called a potato box, which only takes up a few square feet. Potatoes store well, and while you'd need to find a way to get yourself some vitamins and protein so your muscles don't atrophy and you don't die of scurvy, calories would not be an issue after about 60 days. Make it that far, and you're in the clear. I never understood why people just didn't get somewhere up high, with only one door and no windows facing the hallways. So for my very useful item, I choose a hotel room key. An attic. I don't know why survivors don't just hide in the attic. Zombies aren't going to recognize that small square in the ceiling that you use to access it. And if they did, they wouldn't be able to reach it without a ladder. The ladder is in the attic with you, out of their reach. Maybe I'm missing something, though it sounds almost too simple. I don't see a lot of people in zombie movies using .22 caliber weapons. They're tiny, but a .22 rifle easily has enough power to penetrate a skull in the right spots. And a high probability that bullet will not exit the skull, meaning it'll ricochet around in there and do massive damage. The ammo is available everywhere, and you could easily put 200 rounds in your pocket without any trouble. Also, it can be used to hunt small/medium animals. You can kill a deer with a .22 if your shot placement is right. They're small, lightweight, and easy to come by. Even a small child could operate a .22 effectively. You can even get a .22 pistol and have shared ammunition between your rifle and sidearm, which adds another layer of simplicity to the equation. Grain alcohol. You can disinfect with it. It's a great cleaner and solvent. You can use it for fuel, vehicle, light, or warmth, and you can drink it. A tarp. Windbreak in a survival shelter. Roof of a survival shelter. Water collection. Water distillation. Burial shroud. Ghillie suit, if it's the right color. Emergency source of fabric if you need to pull apart the weave. Survival blanket. Iodine. Small amount would make a stream/lake water drinkable. Pretty much mandatory if you flee to the mountains. If there are slow-moving, Walking Dead zombies, you could easily establish a settlement within a city if you had a few pickaxes or a jackhammer. Find an apartment building and fortify all entry points and windows on the ground floor. When you've got a secure working area, destroy any stairs leading up to the next floor and put in ladders. Maybe even a basic pulley lift for moving supplies up there. If the zombies ever get inside, move everyone off the ground floor and stab them from a safe distance. You can put crops on the roof and balconies, and you've got loads of free living space complete with furniture and all sorts. Swiss Army knife with a miniature nuclear warhead as one of the tools. I'll tell you what's not important: gas for your car. In a zombie apocalypse, all cars are going to be stranded in the road and block the major highways anyway. Using a car isn't feasible at all. When the apocalypse starts, don't go hoarding on gas. It won't be useful and will just burden you. Instead, fill your bathtub with as much water as you can. Also, any vessel you think about. There won't be any water running once authorities will stop functioning. Also, plastic bags for corpses. There will be many of these, including friends and family. And you don't want to be stuck with your dead friends rotting in the living room. And the most important thing to have in a zombie apocalypse is people who know to do stuff. If your major skill in life is working in social media, giving legal advice, or typing 200 words a minute, you are dispensable. Find people who can make food, hunt, kill, heal, and build stuff. Just hope they won't eat you when supplies run off. Marbles. Perfect ammo for your slingshot and alarm system. Just get to high ground in an urban environment and spread your marbles all over the stairs. You'll wake up to the sound of falling slapstick zombies. A bowl, tactical shovel, and matches. The bowl helps you capture water and offers you a place to cook and eat. A tactical shovel can be a weapon and tool for hunting and grabbing stuff, while you can use the matches for making fire. To follow up on this train of thought, a bowl isn't much use without a pot to boil water in, to purify it, or make food to put into it. Anything that's useful in a normal survival situation that people forget about. For instance, a balloon and fishing wire can be used in tandem to catch fish. Helpful to have one in real life and a zombie apocalypse. Self-control. People can't stay indoors during C-19, so they'd be effed if zombies rise. Laser pointer. Zombies follow those things like kittens. Vicks Vapor Rub. And not just in apocalypse. This is useful in any disaster. The smell of rotting bodies, sewage, trash, etc. can be overwhelming to the point you throw up. And if you throw up while resources are scarce, you run the risk of getting dehydrated and risking death to yourself. Rub some Vapor Rub under your nose to keep yourself from getting nauseous. This was recommended in the aftermath of New Orleans flooding due to people getting sick from the smell and dying. And something I personally noticed was missing from all these Reddit posts that I read was solar power. If you're on the move, it won't do you much good. But if you're able to set up shop in the country or somehow in a city or small town, if you really want to go all out, you'll spend $2,000 or $3,000 on a decent amount of panels. You can always spend more to have somebody else install it and do all the fun work, but for the apocalypse, it's really not that hard to set up. But this will do far more than just keep the lights on. A wood-burning stove would be a good thing to have too. In a dream setup, you could also have a rain collection system. Another fun observation about the zombie apocalypse is that we'd all have unibrows, and luxury hygiene would completely go out the window. We'd be lucky to even have basic hygiene maintained. But what unexpected item do you have in your zombie survival collection? Let me know in the comments and help us fight the robot zombie threat.